There are moments in life so quiet, so delicate, so utterly ordinary, that we never imagine they will matter. A message we almost didn't answer, a stranger we almost didn't look at, a plane we almost didn't board, a path we almost didn't take. These moments are not dramatic. They don't announce themselves. They don't glow. They don't warn. They don't shake the ground beneath our feet. They happen softly, like the almost silent flutter of a butterfly's wings. And yet, those tiny moments often become the gravitational centers of our entire story. Moments so small, but powerful enough to shift the axis of our future. Today on WowVerse, we explore the strange, beautiful, and haunting truth behind this phenomenon. Why small choices matter, how they ripple through the architecture of our lives, and why understanding this may be the most empowering realization you ever have. This is the butterfly effect, not in the atmosphere, but in the human soul. Our journey begins not with philosophy, not with poetry, but with a mistake. In 1961, meteorologist Edward Lorenz was running a computer model, a crude, rattling machine in a small lab at MIT, nothing like the machines that predict storms today. He typed a number into the program, 0.5061 to 7, but to save time, he rounded it to 0.506, a difference so small you and I wouldn't even pause to think about it. But when the machine processed the results, the weather pattern it produced was completely different from the original. Not slightly different, not a little off, completely transformed. Lorenz thought the machine was malfunctioning. He checked every wire, every value, every printed sheet. Only later did he realize the truth. That tiny change, 1/10,000th of a decimal, altered the entire trajectory of the simulation. A microscopic difference in the starting conditions created enormous consequences in the final outcome. And, from this moment, a new branch of science was born, chaos theory, its most haunting lesson. Small changes do not stay small. In large, interconnected systems, the weather, ecosystems, the economy, a minuscule nudge can transform the entire future of the system. Lorenz famously said, "A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil could set off a tornado in Texas." Most people hear that and think it's a metaphor, but to Lorenz, it was math. The universe is sensitive, exquisitely sensitive, and so are we. Because the most complex system you will ever encounter is not the weather. It is your mind, your choices, your relationships, your life. Modern psychology now confirms what ancient wisdom whispered for centuries. Your life is not shaped by big decisions, but by thousands of small ones. Micro moments. Tiny emotional sparks. A single moment of courage, a single moment of fear, a single moment of hesitation, a single moment of kindness. We think our lives are built on milestones, graduations, careers, marriages, triumphs, tragedies. But the truth is quieter. Your life is sculpted by moments you barely notice. A fleeting thought can shift your behavior. Your behavior shapes your habits. Your habits sculpt your identity. And your identity becomes your destiny. Most people don't lose themselves in one catastrophic moment. They slowly drift, one tiny decision at a time. Most people don't achieve greatness in one heroic act. They build it, one small step at a time. You don't change because of a grand realization. You change because you took a small action, and then another, until the compound effect silently rewired your future. This is the butterfly effect inside the human mind, ripples of thought turning into waves of destiny. A story published by People magazine made the world pause. A young woman had planned a trip with her boyfriend. Only days before they were supposed to leave, he ended the relationship. Heartbroken, she hovered over the cancel trip button. She almost didn't go, almost stayed home, almost surrendered to sadness. But then, a small whisper inside said, "Just go anyway." That whisper became a choice. That choice became a flight. That flight became a conversation with a stranger. And that stranger became the man she would one day marry. A choice barely worthy of attention. A decision made in seconds rewrote her entire destiny. Her career changed. Her relationships changed. Her life purpose changed. Not because of a dramatic event, but because of a butterfly. A tiny decision rippling into an extraordinary future. Now pause. Look at your own life. There are moments you don't remember that shaped everything you are. The morning you woke up early and met someone new. The day you decided to take a different route home. The time you said yes to something you were afraid of. Or the time you said no and escaped a path not meant for you. You didn't know the significance. You didn't feel the shift. The universe rarely reveals itself in real time. But years later, you can point to those microscopic moments and say, "That's when my life quietly changed." What if today contains one of those moments? What if the choice you make after this video is the small shift that transforms your future? What if your next message, your next step, your next brave decision is your butterfly? The butterfly effect carries a profound spiritual truth hidden within scientific language. Nothing is insignificant. Everything is connected. Every action matters. Science calls it sensitivity to initial conditions. Philosophy calls it causality. Religion calls it karma. Psychology calls it habit formation. Economics calls it compounding. Different names, same truth. Small things create big outcomes. A single degree shift in direction changes the destination by miles. A plane that is off course by 1% will land in a different country. A rocket off by a fraction of a degree will miss the moon entirely. So what about you? If your habits shift by 1% each day, toward growth or toward destruction, where will you land in 5 years? Who will you become? Your future is not random. It is a magnified reflection of the smallest choices you make today. If small things matter, then the key to changing your life is not dramatic transformation. It is subtle recalibration. Here are the simplest ways to create butterfly waves toward a better future. Start your day with one intentional act. Drink water. Take 3 deep breaths. Stand in sunlight. Read one sentence of a meaningful book. Choose one habit to improve by 1%. Not 100%. Just 1%. Remove one negative influence. A toxic habit. A draining person. A destructive environment. Send one courageous message. The email you've been avoiding. The apology you've postponed. The proposal you're afraid to offer. Take one step toward a dream you've buried, even if it's small, especially if it's small. Shift your environment slightly. A clean desk. A new background. A playlist that lifts your spirit. Never underestimate the power of micro changes. They are the first domino, the first spark, the first wing beat. Imagine standing before two paths, almost identical at first, only a tiny difference between them. Barely noticeable, but walk far enough, and one leads to a quiet, ordinary life while the other leads to purpose, meaning, an expansion. That divergence happens quietly. You don't feel it at first. That's why the most dangerous words you can whisper to yourself are, "It doesn't matter. It's just once. This little thing won't change anything." Because little things always do. You don't become lost in one day. You drift, one small surrender at a time. And you don't become extraordinary in one leap. You rise, one tiny act of alignment at a time. Your destiny is shaped by the things you think don't matter. So here is the truth the butterfly effect brings to your doorstep. Your life is not a chain of big events. Your life is a mosaic of small decisions, every day. You are writing your future in the quiet moments you ignore. Your smallest choices, what you think, how you speak, what you consume, who you trust, what you avoid, where you place your courage. All of these are butterfly wings creating weather patterns in the architecture of your destiny. The storm or the calm, the growth or the stagnation, the breakthrough or the breakdown. They all start with a moment so small you barely notice it. But now, you do. So as you stand here, in this moment, you are at the edge of a timeline, one choice away from a different future. Ask yourself, what small action will you take today? What subtle shift will you make? What whisper inside will you finally listen to? Maybe, just maybe, that choice will be the butterfly wing that changes everything. Welcome to WowVerse. Your new timeline begins now.